All right, guys. um, what I want to do tonight is a little bit more of like a therapy session, a little bit of unload of the day. Um, yes, I did not sell everybody I was going to go today. It was a decision again that I haven't been. I don't know when I'm going to go. Just trying to figure that out as time comes. Um, Today was hard, obviously, with the way it started, and I want to get into it. So I'm just going to preface this by saying that this is going to be a little more sensitive. And um, I think I'm just going to have to open up the book a little bit and just be honest with you guys. And yeah, so I hope you guys are okay with that. um, so you guys saw Ray was there, and honestly, I wanted to go and be there with him. Um, I obviously have a lot of mixed emotions when I'm there. But today I was made aware not too long before we went in about the medical examiner. And they were so great to me. And then they were saying, obviously you don't have to go in there, you don't have to experience this. And they let me make my own decision, obviously. With that being said, I just felt like it was time for closure for me personally. And I tried to prepare myself, which you can't prepare yourself to see those images. When I lost Charles, I didn't get any closure. I hadn't talked to him, and I've addressed that before. That was because I was upset with him from what I thought I knew and from just my own not willing enough at that point to really understand both sides. I was just upset. So after after they showed the first image, it was um it was just him with his eyes closed. And I'm not going to get into the details again. I don't want to I don't want to get into too much of that. For the first time though, I saw with my own eyes that he was gone. And that might sound dumb to you guys, but for some weird way, it gave me the closure I didn't know I needed. I didn't expect to look up at all. I was just going to listen. But I looked up, I saw some of these images, and the reality of it was the sadness and then closure. I didn't get to say goodbye to any of my family members. Obviously, when someone's taken like this, you don't prepare for that. You don't get to say your goodbyes. And I walked out of that moment with closure. And I could say, okay, there it is. It's real. Because your mind has this weird way of deflecting reality sometimes when it's really painful. Your mind does things that it's just like if you don't see something sometimes it's hard to really truly believe it when it's this brutal. Um and I was just at that point where I think I needed to finally say goodbye to him my own way. It was really hard. It was not what I walked in this morning even thinking about or expecting. But I made my own decision before I went in, and I walked away with some closure. What it did was change my perspective all over again because because it's so tangible and real. Um, because it's so tangible and real, it's how do I put this? It just made what my mom and Alex and all of this so much more evil, and I'm watching evil in front of me, and I'm watching an argumentative person lie and become a victim and dance around it and basically put themselves in position to look like they didn't do it. Um, I think the reason why we open up and talk about this hard stuff because this whole time it's been talked about in the media. And I think sometimes you can get really lost and forget how real it is and how tragic it is. And I'm looking around and seeing all these people again, right? And Ray's there and Kay is there. And you're just like, the reach of this and the heartbreak and the trauma is so real. And we're talking about something that happened in 2019, right? All of this happened in 2019. And the scope of it just really hits me. And it hits me into a position of just true reality of a situation. I walked away with closure today, but I also walked away with a different perspective of psychology. I think you guys have seen months, years trying to grab or grasp what could have happened, how this could possibly be, and what religious view is this and that. And at the end of the day, regardless of what the decision was, it comes down to decisions and choices. And it's crazy to really fully see the reality of the decisions that somebody deciding in their own brain what's best for other people and things of that nature. It's just it's hard to put into context. It's hard to think that human beings can do this to their own loved ones. What I've wanted from this whole situation is healing for everybody around. My heart breaks every time we're in the courtroom because it's not about me personally. It's about everybody who's been affected. I didn't really feel the need to talk to any of the media today. It's not to be disrespectful. When I remember when we walked out, I didn't feel the need or want to really open up about it yet. I didn't even know if we'd do a live tonight to discuss it because I really wanted to walk away with something positive. And honestly, I don't have anything super uplifting or positive to tell you. The lesson I learned today is that sometimes the best part of your healing is fully accepting how bad something really is. And once you accept it, then the opportunity of healing, I think, comes later on. Right now, this is raw, this is fresh again. Um, you have to sometimes face the hardest thing in your life. So regardless if I didn't watch, like I didn't for years, if I didn't turn the TV on or watch YouTube or go to the trials or listen to what the truth of the reality of my family's life was and how it affects others, it'd still be there. It's just a matter of am I going to face it? So personally, I'm praying that all of these steps that are being taken right now bring healing and healing to others. What really hurts me to listen to personally is to watch Lori throw Tylee under the bus, throw her own daughter, my sister, watch her throw Alex in a hero's position, almost as if he saved them, as if it wasn't planned. She's so good at convincing, in a sense. She's so good at pitching that story. I don't know. It's so hard because I can't. Here's what I'll say to you guys. I can't wait for her to say I'm sorry. I can't wait for her to say this is what happened. I can't wait for her to decide I'm going to say the truth or whatever the case is. It really just leaves me in a position where she's doing the exact opposite. What am I going to do about it? What are all the other victims going to do? And the reality is, at some point, our jobs as hurt people are to start to piece it back together. At some point, you have to make a decision. Am I going to also lose myself and die in this position? Or am I going to continue to try to walk forward? And if I'm being honest with you, I think the people that are gone do not want everyone else to sit in nothing but grief and pain for the rest of their life. They would want, as anybody who loves anybody would say, if they had a chance, I want you to move on. I want you to have a good life, and I want you to keep going forward and keep going. I've told you guys when we do these therapy sessions, it's because I hope that through my personal pains and lessons I'm learning, that you get something out of it. That's always been the goal. Just because my pain is present in public, that doesn't mean that you guys aren't going through things as well. So, with all that being said, it sounds like this trial is getting closer to somewhat the end. I heard today that Trina was saying that they're planning on it wrapping her. She's wrapping up on Thursday, as far as I think witnesses. I'm sorry if I'm making a mistake there, but I'm pretty sure that's what she said. They're ready to rest their case. I don't think there really is much more of an argument here. I don't think there's much more to say. At the end of this trial, I just hope that you guys know, if I do one thing right by my family, is that whatever Lori is saying about everyone is pretty much defamation of character. She's lying so much to cover her own. She's lying so hard to prove that she's who she makes herself out to be. And to do that, she's willing to step on everybody's heads, and knowing that the people she's talking about are gone, she's at a point where she's willing to have defamation and make Tylee look like she was mentally unstable to the point where she couldn't go a minute without her medication. Right? What the hell does Charles's HGH have to do with this? I don't think she's ever researched steroids, because just because you're taking HGH and testosterone, unless you're overdosing on testosterone, you're not going to just be an aggressive person. What doesn't make sense is, if you're going to say something about, like, just out of nowhere, just say, did you know that Tylee needed her meds? What I don't like is, no, she had pellets, testosterone pellets, from what I know. And a lot of people in around in their 40s, some women will have lower testosterone, and so they'll get the pellets, and it will balance their hormones out. So and HGH is something that we create, but HGH helps with Um, you know what? I'm not gonna misspeak on it right now because I used to be way more well versed in each one of those things, and I'm not just gonna say something I don't know anymore. Um, I did a lot of research. I used to be fascinated by um just the human body and then supplements and things of that nature. So, but anyway, um, my point is that she put her herself above everybody today again. She's obviously willing to make Tylee look like a mental breakdown person and make it seem that Tylee was some kind of codependent, unable to function in any type of way person. And I know Tylee struggled, but to put that on her and have that kind of memory and tried to make her look so weak in every way of she couldn't do anything and she was so disturbed. What I see Lori doing with my own sister is making her look disturbed. So that way it matches her stupid story that she made up about her at the end of all things. That's all I see. When I go to courtroom and I listen, I think Tylee was there, but Tylee somehow always becomes a highlighted subject. Tylee poked apparently with the bat. Tylee presented the bat, right? Then all of a sudden you left Tylee alone in a room. Okay, Tylee's not 3 years old. So that argument alone just objectively doesn't make any sense. To make it seem like Tylee was that you were even worried about Tylee. And the thing is, at the end, when they were talking about this, and she was going back and forth with the lady that interviewed her, she's not wrong. My mom would chat and talk, and you can tell she's still the same. She walks into the courtroom and she's smiling. She's carefree. And I just kept looking over and I kept having these conversations. I'm thinking to myself, she's so carefree. And it's like, I'm not going to let her bother me anymore. But it is just crazy to see that you are in one of the worst positions a human being could be in, and you are smiling and having fun and joking with your team, which I'm not saying anything about her team. I don't know anybody on that team. I'm not going to speak on them or disrespect them. But at the end of the day, like, I'm just watching something unfold in front of me that doesn't feel real, but is the realest thing and most tangible thing. But I've never seen a more dismissive human being. Like, I've watched a lot of movies and TV, and I'm not going to try to compare everything to that, but I do look at like psychology of characters when I watch things. And you know who she more reminds me of is someone like Dexter. And even he had a code in the show. But there's like this disconnect of like the human condition, like human empathy, human love. Like, what is more powerful than a mother and a child? And I can't name a force on earth like a mother and her child. And she just doesn't have that. She doesn't have that. Celeste, yes. We had another. So basically, what happens is when we stand up for the jury, I'm right in the front, and we all watch the jury leave. And when the jury leaves, is usually when her body's actually turned that way, and we'll end up looking at each other. And I get the same look every time. I get the look of I get the look of like almost like I love you with a kind of, you know, the look she was giving in that police video where she's like completely nonchalant. It's kind of that same thing. She's like a smile frown look. And this time she didn't stare. I don't know if it's because Ray's there. I don't know if it's because I just gave her a look and then kind of just said, I don't feel the need to stare at you by any means. But Yeah. Today was, I guess, today was kind of like just a full reality check all over again in the most real way. So, um, it's horrible, it's ugly, it's not fun, and all at the same time, there's healing, there's learning, there's growth, there's acceptance, and it's a weird thing, man. It's a complete black and white, but it all exists at the same time. So again, I tell you guys all of this stuff because I think at the end of the day, there's just always room to learn and grow and heal, no matter how horrible something is, and it is horrible. But you can always come out and see how you're going to move forward. Um, I'll post this up real quick. This is a good way to say it. You know what's really good? Um, is I used to almost feel like, what if she did say she's sorry or something? Would that change this and that? I'm not going to wait for someone who I know doesn't care apologize, or I'll wait for my healing based off of her. I've learned that's never going to happen. Do I ever think that I'm going to get contact from Lori and she's going to say, "Colby, I am so sorry for everything"? Why would she? She doesn't feel sorry. She's arguing that none of what we all know from evidence is true, and she believes everybody is out against her. So I will not wait for her or anyone else to give me the permission. And I'm not saying that's what you said, but I'll never wait for someone to give me permission to move forward. It's not going to happen. And that's okay. Because that is that is like they say in court, it's like speculation. It's where at that point it's almost like I'm creating a story in my mind. And it's like, well, until she apologizes, I'm going to stay this, and this. It's never going to happen. And I think that that's the lesson too, is she doesn't have to apologize for me to say, guess what? No matter how horrible you are, no matter what you've done, you are accountable to God first. And my choice is, am I going to let you poison my well anymore? And I worked, not to cuss, I'm not going to cuss, but I worked effing hard. And I am working hard to actually move on and be a better person and make better decisions and try harder. So I'm not going to let her come back in and poison my well. Right. Um, and that's just not something that I feel is necessary anymore. So those are my thoughts. If you guys do have any questions, I can answer a couple questions for you guys if you had anything you wanted to ask about today. But other than that, I'm just glad we have a platform where I can just speak my mind. And again, I always thank you guys because I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being a part of my life. This is a very, very hard part of my life that I've shared with you, and you guys have loved me and supported me and my family back. And that is not immeasurable. That is invaluable in the fact that I could never tell you how much it means to me. So appreciate you guys. Thank you. Kelsey asked, favorite memory with Tylee. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys a story. Hold on, I need some water from my big boy water here. That's why it comes in a 62 ounce. Okay. Favorite memory of Tylee. Tylee was 3, maybe 3 or 4. We were in Miami, Florida. We went down there to Charles's friends. he owned like a on the beach hotel, motel kind of thing. And so we went down there. I was with, and we were in a room with me and my grandma and Tylee. And we're all sitting there telling some kind of stories about something. And I'm young too, right? And Tylee starts telling me this story. And she goes, "Yeah, I have this kid who comes to school every day. And he has this isn't funny, but it's hilarious because it's obviously fake. But she says, I have a friend that gets picked up for school every day. He has no arms, he has no legs. I think she might have thrown in the fact that he was blind or something of that nature. He doesn't have any parents. And at the end of the day, he gets taken back to a barn and dropped off and picked up for school." So we're sitting there looking at each other. Me and my grandma are looking at each other going, what do we say? And so I asked her, I just kept asking her like little questions because she's just a little girl. And I'm like, so he doesn't have any parents, so he just rolls around the hay for 12, 14 hours and then comes back to school the next day. And when I like I asked a few questions, and when I like showed her that I knew it was funny, I think all three of us cried laugh. She started laughing. And I'm gonna cry with it's happy tears. She had the best laugh, and when she was 3, that was, like, one of my favorite memories of all time because I mean, cried, belly laughed because we knew that the story was just the most ridiculous thing ever. I think I ended up also telling like, after she said, I ended up telling her some funny story, the same thing, like some ridiculous story back, and she just was so smart, she caught on to it, and I'm telling you, like, we laughed for 20 minutes, but her laugh and Kelsey and I were just talking about this, her laugh was, like, the most infectious laugh, like, those people, when they laugh, it doesn't even matter if you thought whatever they're laughing at is funny, their laugh takes over, and so, yeah, that's probably one of my absolute top memories. We've had some great road trips. We've had some really fun times. Um, I mean, I could sit here and talk about all of my memories with Tylee and JJ, but that might be like we used to talk about that moment just because it was so unbelievably funny. Like I can't tell you why that was just one of my most ingrained moments of all time. So that's probably one of my favorites. Um, anyway, I appreciate you guys again. This is very real for me. You guys, again, are being so loving and supportive. And I appreciate that. And I see you. I'm sorry. Again, this has probably been 2 lives in a row where we didn't really get to chats and I didn't get to really go back and forth with you guys. Um, but on our next one, I promise we'll take our time. We will go through chats. We can have more of a conversation. A lot of you guys are on my head about conversate. I looked it up. Just saying. But I'll say converse if I have to, just to keep you guys happy. Anyway, thank you guys. Hope you have a great night. Like I always tell you guys, I'll keep you up to date. And I do appreciate you guys commenting, and subscribing. It helps our channel just because you guys are interacting with us all the time. And we're having more people. And I've seen some really amazing, amazing comments about how people are learning and growing and having peace from something that we've talked about on this channel. And I'm like, I just can't even explain it. It is seriously the most rewarding thing in the world to know that you guys have gotten help, or something we've talked about has been helpful to you. So I appreciate that. But love you. Have a great night. And I'll see you guys soon.